I would like to preface this video by saying that in my honest opinion, Sentinels of Light was a pretty good event. Now, put down your pitchforks and let me explain. I'm not saying that it was perfect, far from it. Riot made a lot of mistakes and don't worry, we're gonna talk about them. But it's hard to disagree that despite all of its flaws, Sentinels of Light was a breath of fresh air in the current meta of lore events where all Riot needs to do to open our wallets is a pass, copy-pasted missions and some skins. One of them of course with a champagne pink variant.
Let's go!
So, before I start talking about everything that went wrong with this event, I wanted to mention the things that worked. First of all, the Ultimate Spellbook was an amazing game mode with a lot of replay value. You could honestly spam the same champion over and over again and get different experiences each time. My only complaint is that I didn't get a chance to play the Big Pike, commonly known as Bike. Maybe I should try my luck with comedy.
No, you shouldn't.
This event also gave us a lot of canon skins, and not canon like, oh, this character exists in a story inside of our story. No, those skins are actually canon and all of them are really good. Or at least I think that they are canon, but we'll get to that. Of course we can't forget that this event wasn't exclusive to League. All of Riot's current games got something related to the Ruination. Legends of Runeterra had its own event with a separate pass that allowed you to pick a side between Viego and the Sentinels. Of course this choice was kind of pointless because right from the start we knew that Viego was going to lose, but still, that's a pretty cool idea. The lore of teamfight tactics isn't connected with the story of League in any way, so TFT enjoyers got the Reckoning event. I can't say too much about it since I don't play TFT too often, but it looked fun. Valorant? Wait, fuck, no! Valorant got a lot of incredible skins inspired either by the Star of the Ruination or Sentinels. Of course, all of them with their own animations and special finishers. Wild Rift? Oh boy, they made so much stuff for Wild Rift. And honestly, most of that was a-okay. Well, besides this emote. Something rubs me in the wrong way when I look at it for too long. But okay, that's all of the good stuff. Now we need to talk about the things that went wrong. Let's start with an easy one, the Ruined King game. Or rather, the lack of it. And I know guys, it's out now, but it wasn't out during the event, so the point still stands. The prequel to the story portrayed in the event would most likely give us a lot of context for the inconsistencies like, I don't know, the existence of Sentinel Pike? What the fuck, Riot?
Look. Think.
But you know, a lot of stuff happened, the world is still on fire and whoops, the game got delayed. And I've seen loads of creators being like, oh, they should have delayed the event as well, and yes, they probably should. But do you remember how big this event was? And do you remember what happened relatively soon after the event? In hindsight, they couldn't really delay it any further. And I'm not mentioning it to complain about Riot, just wanted to say that it had an overall impact on the story. And to be honest, the story wasn't that bad. Or rather, the idea for the story. You know, the idea of gathering a team consisting mostly of murderers, criminals and one psychopath for good measure just to make sure that this guy never sees his wife again. Wait.
Are we the baddies?
And I know that it's deeper than that, but the way they portrayed the story was really dumb, so I'm gonna stick with that plot synopsis. You see, the Wild Rift comic and the minigame weren't bad, but they completely ignored the existence of champions that were not present in the game at the time. And Rengar. For some reason they forgot about Rengar. Gwen, who was a vital character in the story on PC and in the cinematics, I guess also wasn't needed? The cinematics had the same problem as Wild Rift version of the story. They only showed the important characters, and by that I mean the champions that were already related to Viego's story and those that got legendary skins. I mean, yes, some of the Ruined King's henchmen also appeared so that he wasn't so lonely, but why would he be lonely in the first place? I mean, there's Vex... They didn't add Vex. What do you mean they didn't add Vex? Without her, the whole ruination wouldn't happen. She was the reason the ruination happened. Okay, so Vex is arguably one of the most important characters in the story, and yet they didn't add her in any cinematics. And I know that she wasn't in the game at the time, but we knew how she looks like. She should be there. Without Vex, the ruination wouldn't happen and Viego would be sitting on his ass for another 1,000 or so years, so it baffles me why they didn't include her. But okay. Rise of the Sentinels. Subtitle? We see the narrative as secondary, by our skills. In this version of the story you got to play as your own self-insert character, Sentinel Rookie. No, something more like this. With the weapon that allowed the Sentinels to teleport all over on Terra.
I built that.
Was he canon? I don't know. And how did they manage to travel the huge distances in the previously mentioned versions of the story? No clue. Maybe he was there, but in the background. After all, there are so many interesting Sentinels that got barely any screen time, despite the fact that they make a lot more sense than 3 comic relief characters. But I get it. Skins. Riot has to make money. Oh, and by the way, did you notice that there are a lot of actual Sentinel characters and some of the ruined champions in the official artworks of Viego and Senna in Legends of Runeterra? So there's a 4th timeline of the same story. But okay, let's just ignore this fact and all of the inconsistencies in between different versions of the story. I don't have all day. League of Legends. All the Sentinels got new fancy weapons because their current gear wouldn't be able to harm the undead. This makes sense until you realize that Irelia can't control anything other than her own blades. Same issue with Riven's blade. You can't do it, girl. Diana gave away a weapon of an aspect to wield a Sentinel weapon. I don't care that it's good against Viego's minions. Diana's normal weapon would be good against everything. And Vayne despises magic to the point where she killed her friend as soon as she found out that she's a mage, yet she's fine with not only using a magic crossbow but also permanently joining the Sentinels. But okay, enough about the Sentinels, let's look at the other side. Do you remember when Viego revived the old Pantheon, while Aetherius ascended beyond his physical form in order to stop the ruination?
So that was a fucking lie.
Miss Fortune complained that she already has enough problems with Gangplank, so she won't help the Sentinels. The world is literally ending and she doesn't care. I mean, Gangplank at this point is still hiding and pretending to be dead. How problematic can he be as a dead man? And the arcs of Gwen, Roshan and Senna, as well as Viego's and Isolde's, are fine. Besides Gwen, all of those characters are present in all versions of the story, so their parts were done decently well. For the most part. The same sadly can't be said about the worst offenders of this story. Ladies and gentlemen, the Goofball Trio. Olaf's story is an epic tale of a man seeking a glorious death in battle. He's not a primitive talking about himself in third person. The same applies to Rengar. He's a vicious hunter from an intelligent Vastayan tribe who killed his own father because, to him, he was too weak. He's not a cuddly kitten who, again, talks about himself in third person. And worst of all, Pike. In Rick's lore, Pike is known as the Blood Harbor Reaper, the Manifest of Terror. He's an undead psychopath who sees everyone as an enemy responsible for his death in one way or another. Coincidentally, he's also my favorite champion, so this is personal. I'll be honest with you guys, I was really excited for Sentinel Pike. The skin is amazing and Riot for the most part handles the stories well. So I was really curious what they'd do with my boy. And what happened? Well, his IQ dropped below sea level. Riot tried to make him into another comic relief character and it completely backfired. He doesn't crack jokes in other games. He isn't trying to be a funny character. because he doesn't have to. Pike is an amazing character the way he is. He doesn't need to be dumbed down. Most of his dialogue options look like this. Holy shit. And he's supposed to feel the urge to kill anyone who stands in his way. If convincing him that he shouldn't kill you is that easy, then why is he even considered as a threat? Bilgewater is filled with people who'd happily cut your throat if it brings them any kind of profit. Pike is apparently a lot less threatening than them, because I guess you can just tell him that you didn't cut his rein and you'll be safe. And besides that, let me remind you that at the time we still had no idea why did he even decide to help out the Sentinels. We only knew that it was somehow related to Iraoi's hentai voodoo magic. We might have an answer for it now because the Ruined King game is out, but his sudden change of behavior in Rise of the Sentinels made no sense at the time. From my point of view, it looked as if Iraoi lobotomized him before the event. I don't know. The way they handled Pike's story just made me really sad. You know what? Despite all of my criticisms, I still stand by the words I said at the beginning of the video. The Sentinels of Light event was good. Really good. But the story was terrible. I'm sorry Riot, but I just don't get it. You raised Arcane, which in my opinion was a masterpiece, and yet you can't decide if it should be canon or not, while at the same time saying that the story of this event is canon. People care about the story, and I can bet that a vast majority of players would love to see another lore event, but this time with a proper narrative. If you take the lore into account next time, everyone will love it. Oh, and before I go, you can't really see it, but this video wouldn't be possible without the help of my friend Coolkettle. Make sure to check out his stuff, I'll leave the links in the description. The videos he makes are really amazing, so you won't regret it. And that's all from me. Okay. Bye.